Yes. Everybody make sure you are taking a drink. Make sure you are, guys, are drinking. Goes, woo! It's gonna be a crazy carnival weekend. It's gonna be kind of crazy. Okay, guys. Welcome. Sorry I am late today. My ring light's kind of being a little bit of a bitch. But if you are just joining, welcome. I read Project 2025 out loud. I have the manuals, but today I'm just going to go off my tablet as we're reading so that we can discuss. Janet, thank you so much for the TikTok. I appreciate you. I'm so sorry, guys. Right now, allergens are really bad, so I feel like I feel like Vivek. How is everybody doing? What's going on? I'm just waiting for everything to load. So, as soon as I'm done with this, guys, for some reason, my last live is still uploading. I have no idea why. So, it's still uploading. So, that will be on my YouTube directly after this. Hopefully, it's done downloading. And then what we're reading today is going to be on later. I'm going to get that all done tonight. So, it's like boom, boom, boom. If you missed one, you can come the next one. Thanks for joining the team, Carrie. I appreciate you. If you guys are new here, I read Project 2025 out loud. I was reading this back in July, and we got through a lot of it. We got through like almost 300 pages, I think. And then I was like, oh, well, we can take a break. It looks like things are settling down. And then I was like, oh, surprise. It's surprise. My hair's crazy. We're going to deal with it today. We need to go back to reading it. So I've gone through the first 12 chapters. And if you're listening here and you're like, oh, I can't I upload this, what we talk about live, to my YouTube channel. You can find that link in my bio right there. I just go through like 5 to 10 pages reading it. Oh, thank you for the heart, Dean. I appreciate you. We go through and reread it just so that we can kind of understand. And most of this I'm reading for the first time too, guys. But what I've gone through and like perused the whole 922 page document. And again, yeah, I do have it printed out, but I want to make sure that I can just read from this today, because it's Thursday. I don't know. It feels like Wednesday, but it feels like Friday, and I just want, and it's neither of the two. So, if you are joining, I do make my comments only available for subscribers, because otherwise it just says, literally, you'll just get people here just mega, like that's it. So if you have any questions, I allow that to be to my subscribers. So if you're, again, you like, share, follow, you can comment if you're a subscriber. Listen here, I used to do this over on Twitter. I'll never fucking call it X, but I read this here live. If you are following, we are in the 14th chapter on page 473. We're talking about HHS. HHS is what he's he's giving to RFK Jr. So I'm just trying to let you know who's going to be in charge of everything. We go through, read a couple pages, and then when we're done, I just read up some current news and events. So, okay, guys. We are on the top of page 473. Rewrite the ACA abortion separate payment regulation. Okay? Wait a minute. Did I get to... We were on that, right? Yes. Woo! Okay. So, for people who are unaware, thank you, Janet, for liking the live. I appreciate you. For those of you who are unaware, the ACA is Obamacare. So people who voted to say, I want to get rid of Obamacare, but I want to keep the ACA, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. That only works if you realize, that only work. Here, Janet, you know what? Thank you, Janet. I appreciate it. Why wouldn't it let me follow you? What? Okay. I don't know why it's not letting me follow you. I apologize. Janet, I will look into that. Janet, it says follow back. Maybe I can't be in the live. I've never added somebody as a friend during live, so I apologize for that. So, I do get a little bit scatterbrained. We do try to ask some questions when we're going through everything. So, Section 1303 of Obamacare, again, ACA is Obamacare, requires that insurers collect a separate payment for certain abortion coverage in qualified health plans that are approved to be sold on exchanges, and that they keep those separate payments in separate accounts that are used to only pay for elective abortion services. Neither the letter nor the spirit of the law was enforced under President Obama, and a Trump-era regulation sought to correct this problem. The Biden HHS rescinded this regulation to allow insurance companies, once again, contrary to the law, to collect combined payments for what are clearly required to be separate payments for elective abortion coverage. Separate does not mean together. Them trying to separate that out is just talking about more control, more data, more everything so that they can track you. If I were a doctor, I'd be like, get fucking bent. Get bent. HHS should reinstate a Trump administration regulation and enforce what the plain text of Section 1303 requires. That regulation should be further improved by requiring CMS to ensure that consumers pay truly separate charges for abortion coverage. That is between your doctor and you and their billing department. And the fact that they're trying to say that because you have ACA, somehow you are not able to have that billed separate, like it doesn't make any sense. Anytime that they're restricting abortion access, abortion health care, because yes, the fuck it is, things like not a viable fetus, ectopic, things like that, that is between you and your doctor, and them requiring that is just, again, going to go be able to be in your shit. And no thanks. Audit the Hyde Amendment compliance. HHS should undertake a full audit to determine compliance or non-compliance with the Hyde Amendment and similar funding restrictions in HHS programs. The audit should include a full review of the Biden administration's post-Dobbs executive actions to promote abortion. There's nothing promoting. It's allowing. There's a big fucking difference. It should also encompass a review of Medicaid managed care plans in pro-abortion states. No one is pro-abortion. Say it again to yourself so that you understand it. You can be pro-life and be pro-choice, and it's choice. No one is pro-abortion. Get that shit out of your head. This is what they talk about. This is how they do that. Pro-abortion. No, it's not. It's not pro. It is simply choice. Pro-choice. Reverse distorted pro-abortion interpretations added to the Emergency Medical Treatment and Active Labor Act. The EMTALA prohibits hospitals that receive Medicare funds from dumping emergency patients who cannot pay by sending them to other hospitals. I did read this, did I not? Yes, I'm just going to read it again. It also mandates that hospitals stabilize pregnant women and explicitly protects unborn children. It's caring for the mother, not caring for the mother, but saying the fetus has more life. Okay. I'm just going to read the last paragraph of that. HHS, top of 474, should rescind the guidance to end CMS and state agencies' investigation into alleged refusals to perform abortions. The DOJ should agree to eliminate existing injunctions against pro-life states, withdraw its enforcement lawsuits and lawsuits against CMS on the guidance to agree injunctions against CMS and withdraw appeals of injunctions. Again, if you're just joining us, guys, I read Project 2025 out loud. If you miss it here, you're more than welcome to go listen on my YouTube channel that is linked in this bio. And it goes pretty much in order. So it'll tell you the dates that I read it and what I read and the pages that I read. And it goes in order except for this chapter 14. I'm skipping around a little bit because this is Health and Human Services and I want to get back to those. They're very important chapters. But this is something that is going to affect people like now. Okay, here's where we started. Reissue a stronger... Nope, sorry. Top of page 475. Radical redefinition of sex. Oh, thanks for joining the team, Nancy. I appreciate you. Radical redefinition of sex. Guys, I apologize. Thank you, Nancy, for the TikTok. If I don't see your gifts, thank you for the real sheet. I appreciate your fist first. If I don't see the gifts, guys, I do see them later, and I apologize if I'm not thanking you guys in advance. I am just trying to read. I just ask that you can listen and share and like. So I apologize if I don't see it. Oh, Dee, thank you for the rose. I appreciate you, sweetie. And anybody that you see on here that gifts me, make sure you go ahead and follow them, because then you know where your tribe is. You know who's with you. You know where your clique is that you can be a part of. So make sure that if you see a title gifter up here, if you see a gifter up here, that you go and you follow them, because those are your kind of people. If you are here and you like what you hear, those are your kind of people. So D coming in with a, look at you, girl. I'm trying to read, but I appreciate you. Thank you so. Girl, look at you coming in with the fest. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys. Again, gifts are never required. It's beautiful. It allows me to do the work that I do, but I just want to get the knowledge out. And you guys are more than welcome to follow over. Again, you can follow my YouTube. You can follow me here. You can listen. I try to do this a couple times a week, and we're just getting back into it, but work schedules, school schedules, all of that taking place. Oh, thank you for joining the Tea the Real Shit. I appreciate you. Okay. Radical redefinition of sex. We're at the top of page 475. On August 4th, 2022, HHS published a proposed rule entitled Non-Discrimination in Health Programs and Activities. This rule addressed non-discrimination provisions of the Affordable Care Act, known as Section 1557, which is enforced by the Office for Civil Rights and Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Section 1557 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, origin, age, disability, and sex in covered health care programs or activities. Under the proposed rule, sex is redefined. Discrimination on the basis of sex includes, but is not limited to, discrimination on the basis of sex stereotypes, sex characteristics, including intersex traits, pregnancy or related conditions, sexual orientation, and gender identity. In other words, the department proposes to interpret Section 1557 as if it created special privileges for a new class of people defined in ways that are highly ideological and unscientific. That is fucking so obtuse in thought. What are you talking about? Read those. So this is what they are saying are ideological and unscientific, which is fucking trash, and you know it. It's wrong. It's wrong. So they're saying ideological and unscientific are pregnancy or related conditions, intersex traits, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Tell me you don't know shit about genetics without telling me. Intersex people exist. Non-binary people exist. Gay people exist. Trans people exist. Do you not understand that concept? That is written in DNA code. Do I believe that there are trans people out there who may be on the fence? It's absolutely possible. It's not, the number's not zero. But people who are saying, hey, I am a woman born in a man's body. I am a man born in a woman's body. Why the fuck do you care? You're mad because abortions and gender-affirming surgeries that don't even happen 99.9% of the time until you're a full-fledged adult. But if they can control a small part of the population, because it goes trans, gay, women, interracial, immigrants, migrants, native. Do you see how this is happening? What have we always talked about? This entire document is about white privilege. It is about white husbands, white wives, and their many white children. This is who this document protects, and rich, and loyalists. This is what this is. And anybody who tells you that Project 2025 is not a fucking thing is a moron at this point, okay? Yesterday, Speaker Johnson was like, we got to get rid of PBS. Oh, where's that? That's right here in the document. Thank you, Elsa, for joining the team. I appreciate you. Every single day when they say, we're going to get rid of this, we're going to add this, you can find it almost exclusive. I can page for page find it for you if I've already read it, and I have. They want to get rid of Head Start. They want to get rid of NPR. They want to get rid of PBS. These are things in this document that you should know. Yeah, like fuck Big Bird, right? Sorry, Elmo. They don't think that, they're saying that PBS is bias. He actually said yesterday it was PBS. He wants to defund PBS and Planned Parenthood. Again, Planned Parenthood has a very small portion of, yes, abortions, elective or needed. Doesn't matter. It's not your fucking decision. They also provide a range of healthcare services for people who are indigent, for people who are poor, for people who don't have insurance, for people who need that kind of access. And to defund that because you don't like one small portion is such small dick energy, it's ridiculous. The redefinition of sex to cover gender identity and sexual orientation and pregnancy to cover abortion should be reversed by the HHS. We're in the middle of page 475, chapter 14, talking about health and human services. This includes the Children's Insurance Program, CHIP, that was done under the Trump administration. Low-income families who rely on CHIP should not be coerced, pressured, or otherwise encouraged to embrace this ideological motivated sexualization of their children. Listen to me when I tell you this. Again, the number will never not be 0 if there is somebody who is trans who has committed SA. But I challenge you, for every one that you find, you will find 20 grown-ass men in some form of authoritative law enforcement, pastors, churches especially, you will, tradwives, shit like that. That's where you're going to find this. You're going to find the sexualization of children in those places. Not here. Not here. It's never a fucking drag brunch. It is never a drag brunch. Okay? Let me explain that to you right now. Let me explain that shit to you right now. It is almost always privileged, elite, powerful men who do this. So this whole, I'm not going to entertain abortions or trans because of the CHIP is ridiculous. However, while Biden administration section 1557 regulation should be altered and corrected, the lactation room requirements added in the regulation should either be consistently included in upcoming section 1557 rulemaking or be proposed in a new individual rule. So what they're saying is they have lactation room requirements in this section 1557 that talks about abortions and trans and intersex. And they're like, no, we like that. So they want to cotton pick, because they are white privileged bitches, that's what they want to cotton pick. That's what they want. That's exactly what they want. They're like, oh, but we like the lactation because breast is best. Yeah, fed is best. Fed is best. And the audacity, you are to have the child. You are to have the child. Okay? And how are you going to help if I can't afford this child? Oh, no, we just said pro-life until birth. Until that first smack when it comes out. Now we're on to COVID-19 vaccination and mask requirements. All right, getting juicy now. By the way, I think the next pardon for Joe Biden should be Dr. Fauci, because that would piss I would pardon Adam Kinzinger, I would do Liz Cheney, and I would do Dr. Fauci. Yes, the fuck I would. Yes, the fuck I would. Thank you for the Is it cool? I like cool ones. If I pronounce your guys' name wrong, I apologize. It's not intentional. It just comes across fast, and I apologize. Okay, COVID-19. Healthcare workers were praised for their self-sacrifice in caring for sick patients at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, but they were fired if they objected to receiving COVID-19 vaccines with or without complying with erroneous mask requirements, and regardless of whether they had already had the virus and gained natural immunity. This is a topic that will always fucking frustrate me. This was not specifically a United States problem. Global pandemic goes the fuck outside of the United States. We get that, right? We understand that. We were the worst. We were the highest in cases. We were the highest in deaths. We were the highest in government absolutely brain fucking, okay. Trump fucked this, okay? And with this new H1N1 flu coming and raw milk, look, he is not the man to be in charge when there's a global pandemic. And it has been evident. People who get vaccines are the reason that it came down. That is medical fucking science. Again, that's not U.S. exclusive. It is global. There has been a global realization that happened. And the only reason we got it under control was because of Joe, because he stepped in. And hell yes, there were more death cases when he first started, because he was playing fucking catch up. And not Dottie's catch up. He was playing catch up from everybody else. And this whole mask thing will never make sense to me. People are immunocompromised. There are people who cannot get the vaccines due to they're genetic, they're vulnerable. There are people who physically cannot get it. So you bet your ass I'm going to go get it for those populations too. And then wearing a mask. Thank you, Kimberly, for the lightning. I appreciate you. Wearing a mask after COVID and then making fun of people or saying they shouldn't wear it. Masks were effective. They were effective to a point, of course. But it's because there were people who were like, I'm not wearing a fucking mask. Yet all these little Proud Boys keep showing up to these rallies full face covered. Now they're feeling froggy and now they don't want their face. But if you've ever had surgery, gone to a dentist, again, we talked about immunocompromised, any of those things that have happened, the reason that they have happened is because masks work. They were effective. And again, the world was wearing them. The world, not just the United States. Where were we? Okay. With disease being endemic and constantly mutating, vaccines and universal masking in healthcare facilities do not have appreciable benefits in reducing COVID-19 transmissions throughout the community. That is absolutely false. False, false, false. Moreover, most recent COVID strains pose fewer health risks than earlier strains, and the pandemic has been declared to be at an end. The reason that we are coming to a close, or it's never going to be a close, Weebo with the Roxy. Oh, she's cute. Thank you for that, guys. Yeah, I put a goal here, guys, because if I don't, it'll scream me like, put a goal. And then when I reach the goal, it's like, do another goal. So I just slapped it up there because whatever. It barks at me consistently and I don't like to see this. I just put it there. So thank you for the Roxy. I appreciate you, Weeble Wobble. Okay, again, I'm reading that. I apologize. Bottom of page 475. Moreover, most recent COVID strains pose fewer health risks than earlier strains. That is because we were the last ones to really get on board. A lot of people are still unvaccinated, but the reason that it is coming to a slowdown, it will never be zero. The reason it's coming to a slowdown is because of things like masking, social distancing, and vaccines. Listen to the fucking science. It will tell you. Don't listen to people who are not medical professionals. But what they are trying to do is control what you can do. They're talking about CMS. CMS, and again, if you're confused what CMS is, that's Medicaid and Medicare. Announced non-enforcement of the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccine mandate on Medicaid and Medicare hospitals, revoke corresponding guidance and regulations, refrain from imposing general COVID-19 mask mandates on healthcare facilities or personnel, and pay damages to all medical professionals who were dismissed directly because of the CMS vaccine mandate. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I thought we were trying to cut costs. You want to pay damages to medical professionals, people who decided not to mask and not get vaccinated. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining the team, King. People who didn't want to get vaccinated in the healthcare industry need to reevaluate what the fuck they're doing in the healthcare industry. Okay? If they physically could not, if it was not possible because it would harm them. And I don't mean from these people who are like, oh, mRNA. I'm talking about there are people in healthcare who physically cannot. But those people are aware of their immune system and they take the necessary precautions. Just because it was uncomfortable and you don't want to wear a mask because you want to be a dick human, that's not a reason. It's not a reason. I'm sorry. If we had to go back to wearing masks, yes, the fuck I would. Yes, the fuck I would. Because it would also benefit me and others. Okay? It's not just about you. This was a global pandemic. If you don't want to get vaccinated, don't be in the healthcare industry. If you don't want to wear a mask, then when we had a pandemic, then stay the fuck home. Everybody else was doing it, and for the fringe who refused to or didn't listen to the science because they listened to politicians, gaslighting is real. Okay, now we're going to talk about the Administration for Children and Family Services, the ACF, okay? The first one we're talking about on the page of top of 476. If you're following along, guys, I read Project 2025 out loud. I read a couple of pages a day just so we can see what's actually coming down the pipeline, okay? Thank you, Leland, for the rose. I appreciate you. In my comments, guys, some of them are 600 because they exactly. And like I said, I'm pretty sure if I had a choice, I'd be like, do Fauci. Joe pardoned Fauci. Oh, thank you for the team, Rochelle. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Again, if I don't see it, I apologize. I am just reading. I do see that, and I appreciate you joining my team always. Again, if you're just coming into my live, only people who are subscribers can comment because it just literally gets just spammed with MAGA, and I can't read other comments that people who actually want to be part of this want to listen. We're going to talk about TANF. So TANF is the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. It's a program. It is federally blocked grant that gives states significant flexibility to fund a broad array of programs aimed at helping low-income families break the cycle of poverty and achieve economic self-sufficiency. States use TANF to fund monthly cash assistance payments to low-income families with children. I want you to keep that shit in mind. Every time they talk about taking away things from kids, children cannot work. Children don't get to make choices with their, when you are a parent, you are making children's choices. They are going to school. They are young. They do not have an income. We don't have child labor back yet, except for Arkansas. So when you take away services from children who don't get a vote, who don't get a voice, who don't get a say, who have nothing to do with anything adult, because children should not be brought into adult problems, you take away any sense of semblance that they may have had. These, when you give TANF to people, it's in need. There are requirements, and it's a need. States use TANF, again, for services, their work activities, work support, supportive services, child care, administration and systems, tax credits, pre-K and Head Start, child welfare, and other services. So please explain to me what this is going to, I'm going to guarantee they're going to talk about cutting it somewhere. They're going to guarantee about cutting it. Like, oh, you shouldn't have this. If you've been on it for so long, there are reasons. People are bitching about the cost of eggs, and we had the biggest travel day we've ever had when we had this Thanksgiving, and people bought ridiculous amounts during Black Friday. Don't bitch about the price of eggs and that you're giving food to needy people who are in a time of either crisis or going through a season or need it. It's food, it's services for people who need it. The TANF program serves 1.8 million individuals. Okay, guys, we're like 337 million people in this country, so you're bitching about 2 million people. Thank you for the fest crown, Jenny May. I appreciate you. And now I guess I apologize. The TANF program serves 1.8 million individuals, okay? 1.8 million individuals. Not 337 million. Every time they take away things, it's from usually smaller than this. And this is a pretty big chunk, but these are people in need. How can you as a government let down people who are in need when you force people to have children, when you force people into poverty, when you give tax breaks to billionaires? I don't know if you guys know this, but if you don't make like $300,000 as an individual or a family, I think it's individual, by next year, y'all are going to be on the hook for about $3,000 to $4,000. That was shit that Trump signed into law when he was the president before. It takes effect next year, but if you make more than that, you're getting a fucking tax break. Please explain to me why somebody who makes $300,000 should get a bigger tax break than somebody who makes $40,000, $20,000, $80,000. Like, that doesn't even make sense in my brain. And you're like, yep, he signed it. And there's nothing you can do about it. So now you want to keep, again, shrinking this down is about control. Since 1996, when the program was reformed, federal TANF outlays have been about $16.5 billion. The state match is $14.9 billion, bringing the total state and federal TANF investments to $31.4 billion. Okay, if you're just following along, guys, if you're just coming in, I read Project 2025 out loud. You are more than welcome to listen here. If not, I will upload it later to my YouTube. I usually try to do about an hour, hour and a half every couple of days, and I read about 5 to 10 pages. Right now, we are talking about Health and Human Services in Chapter 14, the bottom of page, or the top of page 476, HHS. TANF statutes require that states engage 50% of single-parent families in the work for... See, they get so many spelling errors, so like, it trips me. Let me start that sentence again. The TANF statute requires that states engage 50% of single-parent families in work for at least 30 hours a week, 20 hours a week for single parents with children under the age 6, through states have the option to waive requirements for families with children under the age of 6, and most do. States have 90% work requirements for two-parent families to engage in work for 35 hours per week. Because of the caseload reduction credit, states' work engagement targets are reduced if their assistant caseloads have fallen since 2005. As a result, 21 states had work engagement target of 0% in 2017. I want you to understand something. When we're talking about TANF as well, you can go, and I hate the word, you can do your research, but you can look it up. Who are the number one people who have TANF? Red states. Red states have the highest welfare, have the highest TANF, have the highest WIC. Red states, because red states are about national Christian nationalism and family and white-centric and creating a workforce and taking everything. That is, red states are the biggest recipients of welfare and services, not blue states, because blue states have the balls to stick up for their people, their constituents. Thank you for the rose, MGM. I appreciate you. And they care more. Democratic blue states will always have lower rates of TANF and welfare services that are provided than red states. That's just a fucking fact. Generally, states apply their work requirements only to the beneficiaries receiving basic assistance, who account for 22.3% of TANF outlays. The Trump administration proposed a Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, rule to increase program integrity and reduce fraud, waste, and abuse that would have prevented an individual from qualifying for SNAP simply because he or she received a pamphlet from the TANF program. The rule defined non-cash benefits as those that are worth at least $50 a month and received for at least 6 months. I know people who need longer than 6 months, who need longer than a year, who may be on it for life. There are people stuck in situations that you have absolutely no idea about. And the fact that you want to strip this from mostly children and indigent people, requiring them to work when clearly, if they were being paid enough to work, if they had the ability to work, they would do so. Does it not click for anybody? How do you even say that in your brain and make them make sense? Okay, so the rule defined to increase transparency, HHS should clarify how states and in their quarterly and annual reports ought to track and audit the outcomes from how they spend TANF funds to meet TANF programs for statutory purposes. You ready? This is going to be a doozy. Additionally, TANF priorities are not implemented in equally weighted way. No shit, because it goes mostly to red states where people vote against, free lunches and healthcare, shit like that. To increase the transparency, additionally, TANF priorities are not implemented equally weighted. I just read that part. I apologize. Marriage, healthy family formation, and delaying sex to prevent pregnancy are virtually ignored in terms of priorities. Are they fucking kidding with this sentence right now? Let me read it again. Marriage, healthy family formation, and delaying sex to prevent pregnancy are virtually ignored in terms of priorities. So, no one has to get married. You don't have to be married to be broke. I'm sorry. I don't do that, but healthy family formation. They're talking about Christians. They're talking about white nationalism. And delaying sex to prevent pregnancy, maybe tell the rapist that. Because you want, no matter what the child's age is, if she is a female or she is a person with a uterus, if she gets pregnant, she has to delay pregnancy. But what if it wasn't her choice, because it does take two? Yet these goals can reverse the cycle of poverty in meaningful ways. Oh, gee, look at that. It can reduce poverty in meaningful ways. Oh, please tell me 1950s white Christians. CMS should require explicit measurement of these goals. Okay, guys, we are going to the page of top of 477, chapter 14, Project 2025, HHS. Teen Pregnancy Prevention and Personal Responsibility Education Program. So the TPP and the PREP. So TTP and PrEP. TPP is operated by the Office of Population Affairs and the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health. PrEP is operated by the ACF Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation. Both programs should ensure that there is better reporting of subgrantees and referral lists so they do not have to promote abortion or high-risk sexual behaviors among adolescents. When you lower consent laws, when you take away when you add or you don't say that children shouldn't be married, when you're saying if a girl has a menstrual cycle that she's ready for children, that's the high risk. Not some random 15-year-old who hooks up with her 16-year-old. It's not the case. It's not the fucking case. SRA programs and CMS should ensure that sexual risk avoidance. SRA proponents receive these grants and are given every opportunity to prove their effectiveness. Sexual risk avoidance. I don't even want to fucking know what that means in their terms. SRA programs both at ACF and OASH, and both discretionary and mandatory, should be equal in funding and emphasis. Qualitative research should be conducted on both types of programs to ensure continuous improvement. Okay, let's talk about that one for a minute, because that brings up a really good point. So we're talking about discretionary and mandatory equal funding, okay? They want qualitative. You are taking away rights in states right now. I believe it's Georgia. Please correct me if I'm wrong. CMS is going to lock up these charges. The Supreme Court, maybe. Yeah, it is insane. You are taking away mortality rates of women. So when you talk about having discretionary and mandatory sexual risk avoidance, you're taking away mortality rates in states that had abortions. And in Texas, they are not even going to count the first 2 years post, removing of Roe for abortion-related deaths. They're taking it away. They're intentionally not telling you how many people are dying from it because they couldn't have an abortion or legal safe abortion, or it wasn't in the cards, or they couldn't afford it, or they couldn't go over state lines. They are taking away mortality rates. They are lying to you in order to keep you scared. You don't have to have a child if you don't want to have a child. Period. That is between you and your doctor, or you and your adoption agency, or if it's up to you and your savior, that's up to you. That is up to you. But for them to not publish mortality rates, for them to say discretionary should be used and more should be for teen pregnancy prevention and personal responsibility education programs, knowing full well that that's not always the case. Sites should visit in certain provisions. Sorry, I lost my spot. I apologize. In addition, certain provisions should be employed so that these programs do not serve as advocacy tools to promote sex, promote prostitution. We're going to say that prostitution is wrong. Who the fuck is like, you know what? I think it's a good day to quit my full-time job and go have, be a prostitute. That's ridiculous. Or provide a funnel effect for abortion facilities and school field trips to clinics. Please explain to me if you have ever been on a field trip to see an abortion. Because no, the fuck you haven't. You may have gone to a healthcare facility. You may have gone to where services were available. If you were something in like a family planning class, you absolutely did. You've also visited the juvie. You've probably visited probation officers. You've probably visited like anything that's dealing with family planning, because there are those classes in high school. They absolutely are. They're usually elective, but nobody is like, oh, classrooms to clinics, please tell me how I get to abortion. No one does that shit. No one does that shit. No one. That is just Parent involvement and parent-child communications should be encouraged and part of any funded project. While it would be nice that most people would tell their parent if they were pregnant at a young age because of teen pregnancy, it is not always possible. Whether that was they did that on their own and they're hiding their pregnancy from their parent because they're scared, or you have to be in a state where you have to ask parents' permission. Parent involvement and parent-child communication should be encouraged. It should be encouraged, but it's not the same for everybody. And part of any funded project. Risk avoidance should be prioritized. Then control your boys. How about that? How about that? Because a woman just existing, a person with a user is just existing, they don't just get pregnant. This is not Mary. You are not Jesus, okay? You don't just get pregnant because you get pregnant. It takes two, or it takes force. This was written by the people who stand outside the... Exactly. People were like, it's murder. Shut up. I know it is. I know that it is. It's not murder. It is a health decision. Thank you, Jenny, for the friendship bear. I appreciate you. But shaming somebody who has to make that decision is disgusting. Thanks for joining the team, Jen. I appreciate you. It's none of your business. It is none of your business why somebody has to have one or wants to have one. It's none of your business. Promotes risk and health. Okay, so it says risk avoidance should be prioritized in any program that submits a proposal that promotes risk rather than health should not be eligible for funding. You're absolutely right. But Project 2025's definition of risk versus health is not the same as reality. Risk, the mother's going to die. Risk, she's 12 years old and he was 34. And guess what? You can't consent, or he just took it. That is what we talk. That is the risk. Risk versus health. Okay? That is exactly what they're referring to. Risk versus health is what it should be. But they're saying risk is the pregnancy and health is what should be. The health of the baby, the fetus. That's what they're referring to. But only until that fetus is born. Not prenatal, not postnatal, not daycare, not food, not childcare, they're just going to give you a doula. That's what they talked about earlier. They're going to give more doulas and less epidurals because they want women to suffer. The cruelty is the fucking point. Nancy G. at Wisconsin. Female support, female judges clearly state. Exactly. Female judges clearly state what it is. It is health care. Ectopic pregnancies are not viable. Thank you for the Roseby. I appreciate you. They're not viable. And they require health care services. Or you fucking die. Just please explain to me why you would be on the fence about that. It doesn't matter the reason. I don't give a damn if somebody walks into a clinic every 6 months and gets one from the time they're 18 until the time they no longer bleed. That is not my damn business. And it's not yours either. From the most traumatic event you've ever had to, I just don't want to. It is your business. It is your business. If you're just joining, guys, like I say this every couple minutes. I'm reading Project 2025 out loud. We are on the bottom of page 477. We're talking about Health and Human Services in Chapter 14. Site visits should be revamped to ensure adherence to these optimal health metrics, and a cost analysis of programming and compared to students served to be a metric in funding, take into account that certain cases, intensive programs will serve fewer students and can have more positive results. These same parameters should apply to sex education programs at ACF. Any list with approved curriculum or so-called evidence-based lists should be abolished. So they want to take health and sex education out of schools because it promotes. No, it doesn't. It educates. It lets you know what is going on. Starting with sex education, I'm sure most of you had the same damn classes we did. We all went through the same thing. You had to sign a note, which is usually true, and they talk about male and female bodies. And now I'm sure they include more for other communities. Thank you for the rosemary. I appreciate you. With approved curriculum, HHS should not create a monopoly of curriculum, adding to the profit of certain publishers. Furthermore, lists created in the past have given priority to sex promotion textbooks. No, they haven't. Thank you for the rose. I appreciate you, Mary. It's not about promoting. It is about educating and then discussing and having that frontal lobe close. Because when you're young, that's still open till they're finding now 23. That frontal cord that tells you the frontal lobe, decision making, things like that. But you need to educate people on their bodies. That is their body. Why do you, it's not promotion, it's education to know what to do. Where were we? Okay, 477. HHS should create a list of criteria for evaluating the sort of curriculum that should be selected for any sex education program, both at OASH and the ACF, with the aim of promoting optimal health and adhering to legislative language of each program. Now we're on to adoption reform. This, for anybody who is out there screaming pro-life, please tell me how many children you have adopted. I'll wait. Because right here it says there are roughly 400,000 children across the nation on a waiting list for foster care and 100,000 awaiting adoptive families, and the opioid/fentanyl crisis is putting more at risk every day. Oh my God, you are blaming opiates and fentanyl for children who need to be adopted. Look, there are many different reasons why people need to be adopted or want to be adopted. But with 400 children in the system and you're bitching about abortions, you need to adopt 10 children. Period. They'll be like, oh, I know plenty of people who adopt. Motherfucker, no, you don't. You just keep having babies and don't give two shits about these kids. Otherwise, there would be no such thing as foster care. Otherwise, there would be no such thing as adoptions. Okay? Do you understand that concept? If there were adoptions that needed to take place, there would be no children in the system. Children age out of this system. That means from the time they were probably born, or if something happened along the way until they're 18, they weren't adopted. They weren't taken into foster care. These are the children that there's so many churches. Please explain to me how pastors aren't adopting more kids. Do you see how this works? Unfortunately, many of the faith-based adoption agencies that serve these children are under the threat from lawsuits, or else their licenses and contracts have been halted because they cannot, in good conscience, place a child in every household due to their religious belief that a child should have a married mother and father. Holy shit. So again, they talk about everything in this document is white fucking privilege. I don't give a damn what you say. I am porcelain skinned. I am reading this and I am telling you that this is privileged white people. So you're telling me that you don't want to place a child with a gay family, with a single mother. You want mother and father. That's it. You want Christian mother and father. And that's why you're not placing them. I'm sorry, when was it your choice to be so fucking picky about the Bible that you read and serving everyone like Jesus would have done, okay? Jesus would have adopted them all regardless of where they fell in, where in the family. Family is not your definition. Family typically is a mother, father. That is true, but that's not all cases. And the fact that faith-based organizations, rather than think about the health of the child, are like, oh, they're going to be groomed or they're going to be exploited. No, they're not. And for fucking Christians to say that shit is so backwards and bankrupt. Let's see. HHS through ACF and Assistant Secretary for Financial Resources, the ASFR, should repeal the unnecessary 2016 regulation that imposes non-statutory sexual orientation and gender identity non-discrimination conditions on agencies and grants, and return the policy of maximizing the options for placing vulnerable children in their forever homes. You don't care about children. You care about a workforce. You care that a woman stays with her abuser. You care that people don't get divorced. You're trying to take away no-fault divorces. That is what you are saying. How does it benefit the orphan child who needs to be cared for and loved? What are we talking about, D? Did I miss something? Can you comment that, D? How does this benefit the orphan child who needs to be cared for? Did somebody say something? I'm not seeing it. Thank you for the rose, Linda. I appreciate you. I always do that. Sorry, guys. I do. That's a habit. I do that with my child. So, for those who don't know, my child is nonverbal. So, we click tongues. Sorry, it's a speech thing. I apologize, and I realize I'm doing it. I'm so sorry. Because true force requirement would be a jam and a woman. Yeah. Yeah, man, and it would. it would be like, no, you can't have it. It's loving homes are loving homes, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless if you're married, regardless of your color, your skin, your disability, it doesn't matter. A loving home is a loving home. And with 400,000 children in the foster care system who are waiting to be adopted, but because you don't like that somebody may be fucking gay, come on. Did again. I hate that. I do that. I don't even realize it. I'm so sorry. ACF and OCR. We are at the top of page 478, guys. If you're just following along, I read Project 2025 out loud. We're at the top of page 478, Health and Human Services. We're talking about the Office of Refugee Resettlement and the ACF and OCR. We're talking about adoptions. ACF and OCR should also survey their programs to consider whether additional waivers of HHS grant conditions, waivers the Biden administration revoked in 2021, are needed for faith-based agencies. If you are a faith-based agency, your goal should be a loving home for the child, no matter what that looks like. No matter what that looks like. That is what Jesus would do. Nearly all of Additionally, Congress should pass the Child Welfare Provider Inclusion Act. The fuck is that? To ensure that providers and organizations cannot be subject to discrimination for providing adoption and foster care services based on their beliefs about marriage. Thank you for the rose, I appreciate you. It's all church and state rules. This is designed for nepotism. This is designed for white privilege. This is designed to create a workforce. This is designed to control anybody who isn't a white male. I will say it again. Thank you, Anita, for the heart. I appreciate you. This is a document geared toward white men to control everybody else. Rich white men. Office of Refuge Resettlement. The ORR. We're at the top of page 478. Thanks for joining the team. JDB, thank you. The Office of Refugee Resettlement should be moved to the Department of Homeland Security. Why? Having health and welfare functions managed by HHS and border security functions managed by DHS has created intolerable failures in both, says you. HHS and ORR have forgotten their original refugee settlement mission and instead have provided a panoply. What is a panoply? Of free programs that incentivize people to come to the U.S. illegally. Nobody is illegal on stolen land. Say it again. Nobody is illegal on stolen land. These imaginary lines that were drawn between Canada and Mexico do not make us more superior. Indigenous people, Inuits all the way on down to the very tip of South America, have lived here before us. Do we get that? Indigenous people were here and they stole land. Do you get that? Nobody is illegal on stolen land. Thank you for the preach. The office. See, I get all heated and hot and bothered, and then I don't bother to look down. Woo. I apologize. It appears that they are doing the lawn outside. Oh, wait, it's Thursday. Mexicana in the southern part of the U.S. people. Exactly. Like, it's just a line. They just drew it. Look how many times lines were drawn when white settlers first came here to colonize. Look at the 13 colonies. That's as far as they went, and then people went outward. Why do you think the more west they get, it just gets huge and sloppy squares? Because if you look at the East Coast, it's like all the lines on down. And they're like, fuck it, we'll take it. Even more troubling, ORR has too often placed children into dangerous situations when releasing them into the country. No, they haven't. Nearly all of Thank you. Is it Sheila? It is Sheila with an I. Sheila with an I. Thank you. Nearly all of HHS care, custody, and placement of children is done through cooperative agreements with private agencies, many of which have broken federal law by inducing or being accomplices in illegal migration. Thank you for the roses, Eric. I appreciate you. No, refugees are not. Asylum seekers are not. They are seeking to leave where they were because maybe it was war-torn. Maybe they needed to leave. Maybe it was violent. But nobody is illegal on stolen land. Yet here the fuck we are, being like, nope. Nearly all of HH's care. Those arrangements could be handled far more effectively by DHS. Congress should reform the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act to transfer all the ORR duties for unaccompanied alien children to DHS and eliminate the Flores Settle Agreement. Regardless of where the ORR functions reside, ORR staff and care providers should never be allowed to facilitate abortions for unaccompanied children in its custody, including by transporting minors across state lines from pro-life states to abortion-friendly states. So wait. Say that shit again out loud. Okay, let's say that again. You do not want children who have come to this country, maybe they're 13, 14, whatever their age is. You don't want them to come here, and then when they say, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant and I don't want to be, or there's something wrong, and they provide healthcare services to somebody who you are saying is illegal or has been trafficked. You don't want to take care of those children either. You don't want to create anchor babies. So which fucking is it? Which is it? It's that you want no one to come across the border. Thank you, TT, for the Vespers. I appreciate you. They want it always. They start to say the quiet part. Now they're fucking just saying it out loud. We don't want you here, and if you're here, you're not getting an abortion. So you're going to have a baby that's going to be a U.S. citizen because it's going to be born in U.S. And they're like, no, that's an anchor baby. What do you think Barron is? Hello? And for those who didn't know, Ivana did not become a fucking citizen until Eric, Ivanka, and Junior were born, and it was a couple years after they were all born. She didn't even become a citizen, so those were fucking anchor babies for her. So don't sit up here and talk shit when two of the upcoming president's wives had fucking anchor babies, because Melania was pregnant with Barron before she became a citizen with her genius accreditation, and Ivana was here, and she had Ivanka, Eric, and Junior, and then a couple years later became a fucking citizen. That is the current president, has 2 baby mama anchor babies. You want to keep talking shit? Keep talking shit. Because that's going to apply to you too. Oh, no, you're wealthy? Oh, okay, never fucking mind. Go mow your ex-wife. Let's tell Donnie, go mow your fucking ex-wife. And people still think it isn't real when public and narrative start. The problem is, guys, is that we've talked about this. Like 79% we have a 79% literacy rate in America. Okay? That is bad. That means 21% of Americans cannot read. Literacy is usually defined as reading, comprehending, and regurgitating. So it's, I read it, I understand it, I talk about it, I know it, I can see what the words mean. 21% of this country cannot do that. Literacy is, cursive writing is down, spelling is down, literacy is down. It is down. And so I read this out loud because a lot of people are like, it's really overwhelming, it's really confusing. Can you kind of break it down? And I will act like I know all this shit. Absolutely not. We will learn together. But reading is power. Knowledge is power. We can try to talk about all those things that maybe get too overwhelming for you. But when you sit up here and talk about, you're trying to align people, they want what they want and they want you to just take it. How's that? They just are like, what I say is law because God. I read this in a few months ago and tried to educate on Facebook. People are ignorant. They didn't teach cursive writing to my... Again, guys, hang on one second. Burp. Sorry. I am wearing socks, and I didn't want to be wearing socks. I was like, it's getting warm. I'm just seeing if there's any more. It says CCC Creations, yes. And again, the reason that cursive writing is taught is so that you can have a signature. So you're seeing it, but we need to do better. And when you keep cutting things, controlling, you're going to drive down the literacy rate, especially in red states. It's going to drive it worse. They did not in Maine. There was talk of... They should always have cursive. Cursive should be taught when you're taught writing. Reading, writing, arithmetic. But yes, cursive should be taught. There's like 50%. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like 40%. And I will look for the actual percent. It's like 40% of adults cannot read a basic story to their child at night. Is that not terrifying? Thank you, Care Bear, for the gummy bear. I appreciate it. Dumbing Down America means more votes for red. Exactly. Hang on, guys. I apologize. I'm just trying to read. So yes, guys, and I will tell you this, that's just because me. If you follow me here and you subscribe, I will follow you back. I follow a lot of different news organizations and friends I've had on here for a long time. But yes, my subscribers always get a follow back, just so you're aware. Regardless of where the RR function is. Where were we, guys? Sorry, we are on the page of 478, Reading Project 2025 Out Loud, Health and Human Services, and we are talking about the Office of Refugee Resettlement. Where I just lost my spot, so I apologize. Okay, regardless of where ORR functions reside, ORR staff and care providers should never be allowed to facilitate. We talked about that. Okay, yep. Pregnant, unaccompanied girls in ORR custody should be treated with dignity, not trafficked across state lines or be victimized by the abortion industry. They want to create a workforce. They bought 1,600 acres in Texas where they're going to build a detention facility. Weebo with the Roxy, I appreciate you. Let me explain to you. That's going to be a detention center that could turn real quick into anything else that we've seen in the past. It could be... They want a workforce. They want a fucking workforce. It could turn into a concentration camp real fast. It could turn into an internment camp real fast. And just because they take them into custody, how do we know what's going to happen to them once they're in custody? Because if they're not from this country, refugee, asylum seeker, illegal, immigrant, whatever you want to call it, how do you track to make sure those people who are picked up because they are illegal or because they're not supposed to be here, according to Republicans, MAGA, all this shit, how are you going to track those kids post that? How do we get to track that? Because that's a question I've had. You're going to round up fucking families. You're going to have Tom Holman come up here and round up fucking families, right? You're going to round them up. How do we know that they went back to Venezuela, Argentina? How do we know that they went back to South America? How do we know that they went back to their country of origin? We're just supposed to trust you? No, bitch, I want to see where the 1,600 acre, you should have to do regular audits throughout your detention center to make sure that they're really, if you want to put them back to their country because you don't want them here, I'm telling you, they're creating a workforce and it's really fucking dangerous. What do you believe for-profit prisons are? What do you believe that they are? Exactly. Workforces. I read a few months ago, tried to educate. Let me see, I'm just trying to catch up on this, guys. I learned it Maine, but I'm old. No, you're not old. You just learned. Let's see. With the rage in the incoming, I'm so worried about. I am scared about, especially children and women. I just have so many thoughts on this, but them saying this shit out loud should scare you. 478. We are talking about pregnant, unaccompanied girls coming across the border and what they're going to do with them. You really believe some of those won't just go missing? Or, oh, we don't know what happened to them in detention? Or we sent them back, language barrier, no job, no home, no family, where they may have been since they were a child. ICE just separated a couple from a child yesterday. I'm going to tell you right now, I live in Arizona, okay? And let me explain to you. I would, if, nope, I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Fuck Trump. I'm sorry. Fuck it. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I'm not sorry about what this upcoming administration is about to do to kids that are not born here. So even if you come across, so you want to treat them with dignity, you don't want to give them any health care, any maternity care. You just want to adopt them or put them into a work camp. I'm just trying to figure out what the end game is here. You're talking about dignity. You don't even give two shits about pregnant girls that come across the border. You think they're fucking trash and you say that shit all the fucking time. And it's annoying as fuck. Because maybe the reason they're pregnant here is because they were essayed there. Maybe their only option was to escape there. Maybe there was violence there. And then you want to say, oh, we're going to treat them with dignity. No, you either want to adopt out their kid to a white Christian family, you want to send them back across the border, don't give a damn what they're going to be, or you're going to put them in a detention center. Thanks, Giver Rose. I appreciate you. In Washington, too, but the East Side, I'm shocked to not see. We will. Look, Joe pardoning his son, he's not done. He's not done. And we as Democrats, Democrats, the left, who don't subscribe, Trump derangement syndrome, we're not asleep. Fuck yeah, I'm woke. Because it means to be awake. It means to acknowledge. And we're not fucking done. We may be so tired of the bullshit that's coming through, which is absolutely true. And we should be. Oh, thank you, Rose, for the event. Hope he's not done. He's not done. I'm telling you right now. He has 47 days to be POTUS still, right? We're going to use that presidential immunity real quick. Look, write all your suggestions to him. Email the White House. Tell him what you think you should do. What's the worst that's going to happen? What did I miss? What did Pang say? Oh, yeah. The Boeing. At Boeing in Seattle. Get the word out. Like, do it. Okay, bottom of page 478, talking about Health and Human Services, reading Project 2025 out loud. Regardless, I'm looking for the pregnant, there we go. ORR should withdraw its policies to allow elective abortions for children in ORR care and issue a new policy of instructing care providers not to allow girls to be transported for elective abortions. HHS, OCG, and the White House should insist that the DOJ fight to defend the policy and up to the U.S. Supreme Court in light of Dobbs. Okay, Office for Child Support Enforcement. Okay, Child Support Enforcement. This is okay. I kind of perused this part a little bit. This is shocking. Boeing used to fly out migrants. Tax the churches. Look, tax the fucking churches. Tax the fucking churches. Tax them. If you taxed a church half what you tax somebody who you consider indigent, we would be out of fucking debt. And P.S., Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. Nothing. They want to get rid of it because they want to get rid of taxes. The taxes that people pay into it. There are so many people who paid into Social Security who've never gotten a dime. They've died, they've left, never gotten a dime. The reason that they want to dissolve it is because they have borrowed against Social Security for years. They have borrowed against it and they don't want to pay it back. You don't have to believe me. Go look it up. The reason they want to get rid of Social Security and call it an entitlement for people who have earned it, who are indigent, who are disabled and have no other option, they want to get rid of it because they have borrowed money against it and they do not want to repay it. And if you just dissolve it, that debt just goes the fuck away. You see how that works? So when you impose tariffs and you get rid of tax and you don't pay, and then you just say, oh, we're going to get rid of Social Security to the most vulnerable populations, that are citizens, that have earned it, that are disabled, that rely on that, and senior citizens, your boomer fucking parents. Boomers rely on that. The silent generation is still alive, relies on that. We're getting ready to have Gen X that's going to rely on that because they've paid into a system for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, and they want to take it away because they use it as a purse and they don't want to pay back a loan. Go look it up if you don't believe me. That's the whole reason. That is the whole reason. There is, you know how much they add to the debt? 0. Social Security adds 0 to the debt of America. And I know it's funny, not funny, but people don't realize that. They just don't realize it. Congress established aid to families with dependent children in 1935. So we're going to be talking about child support to assist single-parent families who were suffering financially from the loss of a breadwinning husband and father. Okay, so 1935, very much a different era, very much before civil rights, like 20, 30 years. It was established so that mothers, single-parent mothers, after they lost their breadwinning husband, could then have some money to take care of the children, which I guarantee you they kept custody of. It wasn't, fathers didn't have rights. I mean, they had rights, but it was the mother. But they were the breadwinners because women didn't work outside the home. Within 2 decades, however, the majority of families receiving aid were dependent. So we're talking 1955 here, because of paternal abandonment rather than death. What? Today, nearly a third of America's children live without a father present in the home, and nearly a fourth of them are enrolled to receive child support. Yes! Child support. Look, I have seen people, my mother was a recipient of child support because my father did not live with me. And let me explain to you how much that wasn't. So people talking, when they're trying to get rid of no-fault divorces, they're also trying to get men away from accountability. And yes, there are women who pay into child support too, but they're trying to get rid of it for men. They're trying to force people to stay in marriages. Today, the glaring issue of child support enforcement today is a non-resident father's ability to provide a full or consistent child support payments. I know people who've received $100 a month for a child. I know people who've received nothing. I know people who have $20,000, $30,000 in back child support. I know people who get $1,000 for 2 kids. Let me explain something to you. Children are expensive. Single parents, if you lay down to make this child and I'm taking care of this child, the fuck you are going to take care of this child with me, whether you fucking like it or not. I don't have to have you involved in the child's life, but you are going to pay to take care of the child so that I may provide a life because I decided to keep your child. Do you see how that works? I wanted your child, you left, you cheated, you just didn't want to be married anymore, whatever the fucking case was. If you have a child with somebody, you are responsible for that child. Flip side of a coin, even if it's a mother who's got to give money to her, her husband or her former baby daddy because he has custody. Abso-fucking-lutely. The fact that people think that women are just out here wilding with fucking child support money blows my mind. Most women I know, and I know a couple fathers, most women I know who receive child support, it goes, but it's only so much. The literature reflects this divide as fathers being categorized as deadbeat, then dead broke. We are at the top of page 479, Project 2025, talking about child support payments and HHS. Dads and now disconnected dads. So we went from deadbeat to dead broke to disconnected, who do not commit to the mother and child. Child support in the United States should strengthen marriage as the norm, restore broken homes, and encourage unmarried couples to commit to marriage. Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding right now? Like I told you, I scanned over that part. Child support in the United States should strengthen marriage. Maybe I don't want it fucking strengthened. It should restore broken homes. Maybe I don't want to restore it. Maybe he beat the ever-loving shit out of me. Maybe he cheated on me. Maybe he just didn't want to be married. Maybe he was a dick. Maybe I was a bitch. Whatever the case may be, restore broken homes and encourage unmarried couples to commit to marriage. The encouraging unmarried couples to commit to marriage is because what they want to get rid of no-fault divorce. Meaning, basically, babe, if he didn't murder you, we're not going to give you the divorce. So why are you trying to push people into marriages? Because they're trying to create a workforce. They're trying to create more babies. Child support tax credit. Top of page 479, HHS talking about child support. National and state guidance and guidelines and tax laws should be updated to ensure that non-resident parents with child support orders can receive a non-dependent child support tax credit. Single filers get of up to $41,756 and married or joint filers up to $47,646 will be eligible for a child support tax credit similar to the current income tax credit. Yeah. Filers could receive a maximum of $538 in annual returns for one child and a maximum of $3,584 in annual taxes for two or more children based on a credit rate of 34%. So you're going to get anywhere from $500 to $3,500. And again, most women I know who receive that use that shit to make, maybe I got to pay some back bills. Maybe I got a hospital bill. Maybe daycare. Maybe diapers. Maybe food. Maybe something to do for the child. And that's what they use it for. A child support tax credit would use low-income non-residents' parents' own earned income and history of employment to assist them in the future in the task for caring for the children. The key to this policy is that it empowers fathers with their own resources and money rather than creating another government assistance program or fully refundable credit devoid of the father's own monetary efforts. So they want you to stay married. That's it. They want you to stay married. That's it. Why do you think women aren't going to get married right now? Fuck that shit. So you want them to be married. So you're going to try to force marriage, broken homes, restore it. Why are you encouraging people to get married? Because then they have to stay married. How many times have you heard Elon be like, oh, the birth rates are declining, they're declining. Yeah. Yes, they are. And you're trying to create a workforce. It's just follow the money, follow the bullshit, follow the comments. Thank you, Kate, for the ginger. I'm never dating again. Look, I've been married for a long ass time, and my husband and I have had this conversation. Look, no, I got married, and I married a good man. I married a good man who, I'm going to tell you right now, is 100% behind me in all of this. People are like, oh, every day in my comments, oh, she's so lonely. Oh, she's a lesbian. First of all, it's not a dig. Thank you. I appreciate it on both sides. But I've been married to a man for 24 years. Very much. He is amazing. He lets me talk and he lets me be myself because he is the exact same way. The key to this policy, again, this way, non-resident father's role as financial provider and the relational figure is affirmed and much needed financial resources are given to the children. So let's say you're in an abusive relationship. So you don't want dad just to pay to stay away because you're scared of him? No, we're going to repair broken homes. Oh, okay, so we're going to create more violence. Got it. You're going to create more deaths. Got it. All because dad didn't want to pay. Visitation. It gets worse, guys, so just strap in, okay? Visitation is key to revitalizing child support and increasing payment frequency. No, it is not. It is not. Look, if you've got an abusive ex, wife, or husband, you should never force your child to have to spend time with somebody they don't feel comfortable with. Thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate you. The fact that a lot of you from red states or MAGA do not understand that concept. There are reasons that children are kept away. Yes, I am aware of gaslighting. Yes, I'm aware that co-parenting doesn't always exist. But you're not looking at the bigger picture, okay? Just because you pay for your child, you're damn right you pay for your child whether you're in the child's life or not because it's your kid. And visitation is something that should be agreed upon. And if both parties don't agree on it, tough shit. I will protect my child at all costs. And I would never have to do that because, again, my husband. But there are people who are not so fucking lucky. The most effective way to lower non-residents' monthly child support order is to spend more court-accounted for time with the child. For example, Texas combined its child support court with visitation court to ensure that residents and non-resident parents receive state-mandated financial support orders and enforceable visitation orders. It bothers me so bad when they say that shit, because if parents can co-parent, there's usually not a problem. There becomes a problem. Yes, some people are spiteful, and I understand that fact. But you should never force. If a child says, I don't want to go, I don't feel safe with mom, dad, I don't feel safe with this visitation, I don't want this visitation, or if a child's like, no, I'm not going to go, that should cause concern. Child support payments and interactive smartphone application. Each state should be induced to implement, really? That's the word? To implement high-tech, easy-to-use application that centralizes child support payments. As with Venmo or Cash App, non-resident parents could link their bank accounts and provide one-click monthly payments or contribute incrementally throughout the month while tracking how much is due. Additionally, the non-resident parent could track informal gifts from money, clothes, sports gear, and more through the app. If you give something additional to your baby mama because you are divorced and you have 3 kids for her, she doesn't account for that shit. They're your kid. If you're only paying because a court fucking tells you to, you're a fucking shit parent. Get over it. You combining courts and forcing and then saying easy and tracking informal gifts? Fuck you. Thanks, Stevie Gale. I appreciate you. Guys, if you're just joining me, I read Project 2025 out loud. We are at the midway point of, thank you, Rebel. I appreciate you. Page 479. We're talking about health and human services and child support, because what this is basically all coming around to this big mind fuckery is stay married. Stay married, stay miserable, stay abused, stay violent. That's what they want. That's what they want. And if your baby daddy gives you a fucking informal gift and you gotta track it, fuck that shit. It's not deducted. They're your kid. This would address one of the main issues with current child support payments. Non-resident parents claim that they are spending much of their own money to provide for children outside of their monthly payments, and residents' payments claim that they spend little and neglect their official child support orders. How much does milk cost? How much does shoes cost? How much do they cost? Right? So if you're telling me that people think, again, that you think mama's out here wilding with $400 a month for 2 kids, you are sorely mistaken. That is $400. That's probably 2 weeks worth of groceries. There's still 2 more weeks, and clothing and feeding and daycare and school and activities. But you want to force mothers who just got out of a bad situation and got away from dad, or just broke up and they're like, he's not a good father, or he's like, she's a bad mom, she's violent. You want to be like, okay, track the informal gifts, make sure that they're, the non-resident isn't just spending. No, you don't get to track my fucking spending. Most child support is too low. I said what I said. Am I missing anything? I think I saw something, guys. I apologize. Where was I? Currently, only the latter can be tracked reliably. This process would enable non-resident parents to track the amount of informal support they provide and the reasons for it, while ensuring that the resident parent acknowledges and accepts the contribution. So you want to buy little Mikey a pair of Nikes, for $50, and you want mom to keep track of that so that they can deduct that from the next payment? Fuck all the way off. Fuck all the way off. Gifts are gifts. I don't have to track it. It's a gift. If you give a gift to somebody, it's a gift. You don't get it back. Here we go. Healthy Marriage and Relationship Education, the HMRE program. The HMRE program is part of the ACF Office of Family Assistance. The following policies should be implemented. If you're following along, we're at the top of page 480. We are talking about the HMRE program with Project 2025 as it pertains to Health and Human Services. Number 1, utilize HMRE funding or grants to provide state-level high school education resources and curriculum on healthy marriages, sexual risk avoidance, and healthy relationships. Now they're coming into your high schools and saying this, provide help on healthy marriages. Early interventions and preventions are much more cost effective than their efforts to reach people in already broken relationships. So you're going to tell women just to be quiet and complicit. Gotcha. Got it. Allow child welfare funding to be used for marriage and relationship education. I'm sorry, what? Hang on, I got to read this again. Allow child welfare funding to be used for marriage and relationship education. Congress should adopt the following recommendations from a report issued by the members of Congress's Joint Economic Committee. Children are far more likely to experience abuse when they are raised outside of their married parent family. Title II of the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act gives grants to communities for the purpose of preventing child abuse and neglect, and one of the state purposes for which the grants can be used is in efforts to increase family stability, stay in marriage, i.e. translation. However, Congress could change the law to make it clear that Title II funding can be used for healthy marriage and relationship education. Translation, stay in a marriage. Funding provided under Title 4B of the Social Security Act, which provides grants to states for foster care and adoption services, can also be used for promoting healthy marriage. Control. Thanks for joining the team, Rosie. Woohoo! I'm sorry, it's flashing something at me. Hang on. Something about team power has unlocked. Yay! Rosie coming in with the team bracket. Sorry, guys, when it tells you these things, I apologize. Thank you so much. It comes by fast, but it's telling me only 2 more something until get 2 more subscribers to complete your team. If anyone wants to subscribe, they certainly can. That's totally fine with me. Again, TikTok does that to promote, so I appreciate it. Thanks for joining the team, Angela. I appreciate you. States could consider using some of their Title 4B funding for providing healthy marriage relationship education for families at risk of having their children placed in foster care. Okay, provide educational information on healthy marriage relationships at Title V planning clinics. HHS should require clinics it funds under Title V of family planning to provide information to customers about the importance of marriage to family and personal well-being and refer them to federal, state, and nonprofit marriage resources. Not everybody wants to be married, okay? Some people do just have sex to have sex and a child happens. Maybe they don't want to be married. Thank you, Bang for the Heart. I appreciate you. If you guys are just joining us right now, we are in the middle of page 480. We're talking about Project 2025. I read that out loud. We're talking right now about Title V, which is family planning and staying in marriages that you don't want to be in because they don't want to pay. Ensure proper assessment with enough time to assess HMRE programs. Although some widely available assessments of HMRE programs report poor outcomes, many of the assessments either utilize a poor methodology or try to measure program success prematurely. Recent assessments have shown increasing effectiveness in positive community-level marriage outcomes. If you want to be married, be married. If you want to get divorced, get divorced. If you don't want to get married, don't get married. And anytime you want to bow out, it should be allowed because it's you. The HMRE program should receive fair and realistic assessment. Additionally, the positive role faith-based programs should be the positive role of faith-based programs should be protected and prioritized. We're at the top of page 481, so that these programs do not receive undue scrutiny or pressure to conform to non-religious definitions of marriage and family as put forward by the recently enacted Respect for Marriage Act. Okay, TikTok can just stop. I'm reading. Faith-based. Say what they mean. Say it out loud. Christian. White Christian. White Christian. They're not talking about Muslim. They're not talking about Hindu. They're not talking about Buddhist. They're not talking about atheist. They're not talking about agnostic. They are talking about Christian. That's it. That's it. They do. I don't give a damn what you say. They don't accept that other religions exist. I'm going to teach my girls to avoid marriage. Period. Exactly. I would too. I would be like, no, I'm good. And if you want to get married, maybe vet your husband. Okay, we are in the top of page 481, the second paragraph, guys, talking about Health and Human Services. This is, here we talk about it, protect faith-based grant recipients from religious liberty violations that maintain a biblically based social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. You want me to just stay in a marriage because of your fucking book. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but do you know why we have the King James Version of the Bible? Because the Bible wasn't available to everybody when it first came out. It was available to people who were religious for a reason. It was their teachings. And when the King James Version came out, it was because then they wanted to make sure it was indoctrinated in you. That's what that's for. That's why the King James Version exists. Because other versions of the Bible aren't so easy to understand. But if you go to King James, it's pretty fucking simplified because they were trying to put it into the church. Church, everybody in the church, not just scholars. That is why the King James Version exists. Go look it up. Where are we? Social science reports that assesses the objective outcomes for children raised in homes aside from heterosexual. Social science reports that assess the objective outcomes for children raised in homes aside from a heterosexual, intact marriage are clear. Other family forms involve higher level of instability. The average length of the same-sex marriage is half of heterosexual marriages. Oh, please show that fucking fact. I want to see it. Financial stress or poverty or poorer behavioral, psychological, or educational outcomes. So what they're saying, mom, dad, babies, white, Christian. That's what they're talking about. For the sake of the child well-being, programs should affirm that children require and deserve both the loving and nurturing of a mother and what? What is this horse fucking sexist shit? Listen. For the sake of the child well-being, they're talking about children now and they're going to define roles. Programs should affirm that children require and deserve both the love and the nurturing of a mother and the play and protection of a father. So fathers aren't allowed to love and be nurturing and mothers aren't allowed to play and protect? My sister's married to a woman. Thank God. Or thank no God. That is so fucking sexist. This whole thing reads like that. The passive aggressiveness, the information in this, the push. I'm going to read it again if you're just joining us because I really need you to hear this. I really need you to take that into consideration. For the sake of they're basically saying a child is not going to be a good child and their well-being is not brought to fruition if, for the sake of the child, well-being programs should affirm that children require and deserve both the love and nurturing of a mother and the play and the protection of a father. This is so fucking weird. Is there anywhere in here that men are forced to learn where it means? No, not at all. Not at all. Now, again, I've not read the entire document. I've perused through it. It just gets worse. It just gets worse. It's more about forced. Like mom should not have a boyfriend and then get remarried. It should be the biological parents are always staying married. There's no men accountability in any of this. None. Despite the recent congressional bills like the Respect for Marriage Act that redefine marriage to be a union between two individuals, HMRA program grants should be available to faith-based recipients who affirm that marriage is not just between two adults, but one man and one unrelated woman. So you cannot have, they want to go forward and say that you can't have anything from the HMRE program if you're gay, if you're single, if you're bi, if you have a boyfriend. Healthy Marriage and Responsibility Fatherhood Program. Oh my God. What is this shit? The program is located within the ACF Office of Family Assistance. Its goal, like that of the HMRE program, is to provide marriage and parenting guidance for low-income fathers. This includes fatherhood and marriage training, curriculum, and subsequent research. Okay, so training, curriculum, and subsequent research, are you going to hold a man to that? I doubt it. Implement a pro-fatherhood messaging campaign. With nearly 41% of children born without a married father in the home and nearly 69% among Black Americans. Oh, here we go. Now we're race shaming. Oh, this ought to be fun. The fatherhood problem is clear. Fuck you. Fuck you. Similar to Florida Governor DeSantis' 2022 fatherhood bill, HMRF funds should be used to support national messaging campaigns that affirm the role of the fathers play in the lives of children, that recognize the financial hardships that the fathers themselves face. Oh my God. Oh my, daddy can't afford it. Daddy can't afford. Did you lie down and make a child? Then you can fucking afford it. And if you can't, don't play stupid. Get a vasectomy. No. So you're saying, oh, poor fathers, I gotta pay $500 a month. They're like, bitch, my mortgage is $1,700. So groceries are $500, $200, $500 a week, depending on how many kids you have. Oh, poor dad having to pay his responsibility for laying down and making a child. Oh, no. This whole fucking document just, it makes my brain hurt. Oh, wow. We're at 64,000 likes. Ooh, get it. 64,000 likes. I appreciate you guys for that. That's the whole point. Turn the USA into a Christian nation. So a Christian nation, workforce, control. Like that's all this document is. That's all this document is. 922 pages of Christian bullshit. Thank you for the Rosalani. I appreciate you. Whew. Hardships that fathers face themselves and seek to provide relationship education to fathers who were raised without a father in the home. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the Rosie. I appreciate you guys. Fund effective HMRF, which is the Responsible Fatherhood. Grant allocation should protect and prioritize faith-based programs. Why not just any father? Why does it have to be faith-based? They incorporate local churches and mentorship programs or increase social capital through multi-layered community support, including, for example, job training and social events. So if you don't want to be a Christian, you don't get the training. Wow. Programs should affirm to teach fathers based on biological and sociological understanding of what it means to be a father, not a gender-neutral parent. Fuck! Not even co-parenting, not even your partner's an equal. Not a gender-neutral parent. From social science, psychology, personal testimonies, etc. We are on the page, top of the page of 482. Guys, thank you for the heart, Nikki. I appreciate you. Top of page 482, we are reading Project 2025. We are in chapter 14 talking about health and human services and apparently how we need to coddle more fathers because they have to pay child support. Administrations on children, youth, and families. Oh. How much is this? Hang on one second, guys. I just want to see how many more pages this actual chapter is because it's a lot. It's a big, I'm just trying to find a place that we can stop. And while I'd love to keep going, it is already 1:30 and woo. Okay, for rulemaking, caregivers. We're going to read this last page and that's where I'm going to stop it for today. Hopefully I can do it again tomorrow. I don't know with work, but we'll see. Christian, I support you. Yeah, because there are true Christians out here. Hello, I was former. I'm not former, and I'm former that I belong to a church and that I don't coddle to the idea that. Thank you for the heart hands. I appreciate you. Thank you, Rochelle. I don't conform to the ideal that God is all knowing or God is all good, because you can't be both. I'm sorry. If you don't believe me, you go to fucking hell. Like, there are some things that just don't make sense. Like the fact that all these oh, thank you, Nikki, for the fest crown. I appreciate you. It's just so biblical. Everything's biblical. I am Christian. I was baptized. My husband and I were baptized together. Thank you, Cassandra, for joining the team. I appreciate you. We were baptized together, but and I'll tell you just a little tiny side story. We went to church for many years. And we went to a very large church. We're baptized in a very large church. And the camaraderie in the church was so fucking small. We're like, I don't feel like anything but somebody who tithes. Man. And they push heavily on, this church was very heavily on tithing. Tithe. And I'm like, there were times where I went to church and I was not employed. And I was like, I can't afford it, but I want to go to church. And they're like, oh, the offering plate, or we have a kiosk out front, or you can write a check, or you can donate online. I'm like, how about I just get to go to church? I'm not doing that. And for me, it's always about the money. It's always about the control. I'm like, no. And then we finally were like, this is wrong. And we left. And I'm a rational human being. I've always been a rational human being. My parents were not religious in any respect, shape, or form. And I was in religion when I was young because it was something to do. I'm from a small town. And it was, when I was younger, it was all about camaraderie because they want to indoctrinate you when you're young. So we're going to read these last 3 things, and they're not easy to go through. So I'm just going to read them. We'll read it in every paragraph, then we'll talk about it for just a second, okay? Oh, my phone's going to die. That's cool. Not for a minute, though. I forgot to plug my phone. Allocate funding. So this is Administration on Children, Youth, and Families, ACYF. Allocate funding to strategy programs promoting father involvement or terminate parental rights quickly. The ACYF is currently considering different programs to encourage parents, especially fathers, to engage with their children in foster care. While these program ideas and initiatives are still in the early planning stages, promoting responsible parenthood to reintegrate children or at least keep a consistent male figure in the minor's life is crucial. Loving parents, loving caregivers, loving foster parents, loving adoptive parents, loving adults. That's what you need. That's what you need. Yes, would ideal be to have a father? Sure. And ideal to have a mother? Sure. But there are gay people who exist and they have a birth mother, but they may have 2 fathers. They may have one mother and she used a donor and they have another mother. What's wrong? Exclusive love does not just mean a man and a woman when it comes to dealing with the unconditional love of a child. How many grandparents raise children? How many single grandparents raise children? Office of Head Start. Buckle up. They want to eliminate Head Start. They want to eliminate Head Start. Head Start, originally established and funded to support low-income families, is fraught with scandal and abuse. Head Start provides a head start to low-income children. I know my mother years ago used to be a Head Start teacher. My aunt was a Head Start teacher. Many of my family's friends were Head Start teachers and directors. They worked with low-income families. Oh, what is it telling me now? Hang on, guys. I'm so sorry. It's giving me a clock. I don't know if you guys have ever done live and stuff like that, but it's telling me, like, there's a clock. Apparently, 49 seconds to get 2 more subscribers. Jesus, shut up. If If you want to subscribe, great. I'll hit my goal. I don't even know what that means. Apparently 37 seconds to get 2 more subscribers. I'm going to block that. With a budget of more than $11 billion, the program should function to protect and educate minors. Sadly, it has done exactly the opposite. That is such horseshit. You don't know. You've never been in a Head Start setting. When I was little, I used to go, when I was really, really little, I used to go to Head Start with my mom. Like, she'd pick me up from school with the actual blue Head Start bus. Man, we would go. And I would get to spend day with kids that were maybe a little younger than me, some a little older than me, depending upon when it was. Like, I get picked up from pre-K or whatever, and I didn't go to Head Start, but I would go visit my mom, and she would pick me up. Sub Only Live. If you want to comment, yes. Sub Only Live. If people want to comment, that's why you're getting the TikTok notices. Oh, is that what that is? See, I'm stupid when it comes to that. I appreciate when you subscribe, but you don't have to. This internet is free. You can read it on YouTube too. I appreciate it. It allows me to do the work that I do, but I'd rather you just get the information so that you have it, because information and knowledge is power. So I appreciate that, but yeah, I do limit that because it literally just is, just says literally just be Trump 2024, the whole thing, just nothing but MAGA. Sadly, it's done the exact opposite. In fact, approximately 1 in 4 grant recipients had incidents in which children were abused, left unsupervised, or released to an unauthorized person between October 2015 and May 2020. Research has demonstrated that federal Head Start centers, which provide preschool care to children from low-income families, have little or no long-term academic value for children. Oh my God! Let me explain something to you. I've told you, my family, my mother, they were Head Start teachers a long time ago. There were kids that came up to them after they graduated and were like, you were the reason I liked school. I tear up. Head Start makes a difference. And for them to be like, kids were abused, you should eliminate this program because it takes out funding. Thank you for the dumpster fire, Angela. I appreciate you. As I'm like sitting here tearing up. If you've never been to a Head Start class, I highly recommend that you go if you can volunteer, if they were ever let you go. But back in the 80s, it was a different story. You could just walk in. That's true. But it provides education, socialization, transportation, food. It provides an attempt at a level playing field. I'm sorry. I shouldn't cry. I'm just very frustrated because shit like this is terrifying and it's scary. Because I think about how many kids will not get educated or won't have meals or will lack the social landscape to navigate the rest of their life. It's so, knowing that I grew up in a family who very much supported, very much worked for years, some of my friends and family members, decades, to provide care to young kids. It's okay to cry. I can't take this Project 1 to 5. Same, Sheila. Same. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me just take a drink. Sorry, shit pisses me off when politicians start talking out of their fucking ass like they know what the fuck's going on and they don't. Yep. You stay rich, you stay poor, I control what you do. You know? Uh-oh. Did I lose my document? Oh, no, it's right there. So I think, uh-oh, did I close my document? Oh, shit. Oh, no. I just accidentally scrolled down. Whoa. True. It's terrifying. Okay. Given its unaddressed crisis of rampant abuse and lack of positive outcomes, this program should be eliminated with the entire OHS. At the very least, the program's COVID-19 vaccine and mask requirements should be rescinded. Administration, okay, this is the last thing we're going to read. Administration for Community Living, ACL. Okay, support palliative care. Palliative. I would say palliative. I've said palliative forever. Yeah, force them back home. Oh yeah, it talks about that. We've talked about that. Forcing you to be back home. You are the child rearers. My husband is disabled with MS. I have to work. If we don't rise up like Georgians, if we don't rise up like South Korea did, we're fucked. And right now, a lot of lefts and Dems and people who are anti-MAGA are just being quiet. And I'm hoping what's happening is that they're forming the balls to say this is not okay and a hard line that in the sand. So many people in this country are so fucking gaslit by this man, and I do not understand it. Donald Trump is a Nepo baby who had entitlement, and he got money from his father. Elon Musk, his mother, by the way, May Musk, Elon's mother, fucking blocked me on Twitter because I talk shit about her kid. May Musk's parents, father, was pro-apartheid and pro-Nazi. They left Germany to be in apartheid Africa because he believed in both. May Musk. Elon's dad, I don't know who all knows about Elon's dad, but Elon's dad knocked up his former stepsister, and they have 2 kids. And Elon found out about Father's Day one day. But, emerald mines. Money, right? Elon disowned his own child. And Vivian's like, fuck you, I don't want the Musk name. Because she's trans. So, and he's patting his cabinet. Oh, we made it! I'm sorry. It says 40 subscribers. We made it! Sorry. I have to get excited about little things. But it's all these billionaires. It's all these fucking billionaires. And I'm just like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Woohoo! 40! I didn't think I would get 1 so that you guys want to follow me. It's always amazing to me. And anytime you want to dip and dodge, I totally fucking get it. Dude, money's tight. Things are tight. I do this because I don't think a lot of people realize how scary this is and how much is in here. And I don't like to go into anything unprepared. I don't know that I'll be able to get all the way through this before Inauguration Day, but maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I'm not certain. It's maddening how to understand how people... It's funny to me how many people were never in an abusive relationship before they started following Donald Trump. And they do not realize that they have been gaslit. They've been gaslit. Oh, I appreciate you with the heart hands, Sheila. I appreciate you. They've been gaslit, and they don't know how to get out of it. That's why they regurgitate. Because remember, white women are the men of this country. That makes sense. White women are the men. They're the Karens. They're all MAGA anyway, not us. But I get loud because I'm like, do not ever fucking lump me with them. Do not ever lump me with an elite. Do not ever lump me with somebody who's not for civil rights and bodily autonomy and all. Do not. Oh, it's Shyla. I'm so sorry. I should know better. Like I said, I will pronounce names wrong, but now I know it's Shyla. Shyla. Now it's gonna be my handle day. I love that. Billy, right? Hi, Bobby. No. Oh, did your parents want a boy? No. Bob, no. It's Billy. Billy, I can't tell you how many people when we used to have a landline, call me like, may I please speak to Mr. Billy Nelson? No. Oh, he's not available? Nope, not available. Because they don't exist. But no, I like it. It's different. I like it. Shyla. I'm so sorry. I was saying Sheila, but now I know. See? The more you know. I will read this last piece on palliative care. Physician-assisted suicide, PAS, is legal in 10 states and the District of Columbia. Legalizing PAS is a grave mistake that endangers the weak and vulnerable, corrupts the practice of medicine and doctor-patient relationship. You not give a fucking shit. Compromises the family and intergenerational commitments. Commitments. I want to read it again. I'm just going to say it all the way through, okay? Let me just read these 2 sentences, and then we'll discuss, and then I can always let you guys go. Faith-based no more, huh? Right? Right? Look, I am pro PAS. If you've never seen somebody terminal who is done, and I mean done with treatments, you don't get to say shit about PAS. If you've ever had somebody who's had a debilitating disease like ALS, like both family members of mine had, my father-in-law and my grandfather both had ALS. If you've ever seen somebody whose mental health is so off the rails that they're just like, I just can't, and I would rather not be here anymore, but get to decide how I get to go. Oh, here we go, guys. Hang on. They're telling me I have a live restriction for some audiences because what I'm talking about is uncomfortable. I'm sorry that I'm talking about it. I get restrictions every single live. Doesn't fucking matter. I don't give a shit. This is what is happening to our country. Yeah, pancreatic ALS it is awful. My father-in-law actually graduated from hospice. I don't even know how to explain that. What do you mean? You survived. Great. For like a whole year after hospice. But trying to tell somebody that they do not have the right. They do not have the right. I just want to read it. Physician-assisted suicide is legal in 10 states in the District of Columbia. Legalizing, I'm just going to say PAS because for some reason it's flagging me for this. Girl, what? Why didn't I check out innocent maid law? That's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. I should get to have a choice on what happens to me. Physician-assisted PAS, legalizing PAS is a grave mistake that endangers the weak and vulnerable, corrupts the practice of medicine and the doctor-patient relationship, compromises the family and intergenerational commitments, and betrays human dignity and equality before the law. It's a lie. Instead of embracing PAS, policymakers should focus on the benefits of palliative care, which works to improve a patient's quality of life by alleviating pain and other distressing symptoms of serious illness. HHS ACL should survey their programs to ensure that they are supporting vulnerable persons of age or disability and are not facilitating and encouraging participants in PAS. Okay. I'm going to put that down for now. So, guys, when we do pick it up again, let me see. I'm not going to go quite yet. Page 482 is what we'll be on. You do not get to decide. I'm just trying to plug my phone in. I apologize. It might not work. You telling somebody that they do not have a right to exist. They do not have a right to see to their maker, whoever that may be, at the end of time is not your concern. It can be a very beautiful process to take control of how you go. Oh, that makes sense. If somebody said to me, I have exhausted all the possibilities and I am ready to go, and I'm telling you because I love you and I need your support, of course you try to talk them out of it. But at the same token, you're like, I respect you. And I understand if you've never seen somebody crumble, if you've never seen somebody just fall apart and want to make that decision themselves before they got too bad, why do you care? Shouldn't you be happy that somebody, when their mind is torturing them, their body is torturing them, it's shutting down, you want them to waste away to nothing? Palliative care is not always the best care. It's not always the best option. It's about control. It's about control. So if you are disabled, they want to take away your Social Security. If you are in pain because of your disability and you can no longer tolerate it and decide that you want PAS, they want to control it. They don't want you to live a normal life, but they don't want you to be gone either. Make that make sense. That's exactly right, Payne. That's exactly right. I put my cat down of 17 years right before COVID. And this is before we even knew what really COVID was. It was December of 2019. And it was torturous. But my cat was 17 years old. And he wasn't being good to himself. And it was really, really difficult. That date's coming up. And I had my cat a long time before my child was even born. And pets are family, and putting a cat down is humane. Putting a dog down is humane, but we don't think about that when we talk about our own existence. Like, there are people who don't believe in God. I'm just going to tell you. One thing that I did take away from the one church I really did like, and I just want to say this to you because it's not anything like, ooh, in your face. People who tell you that you go to hell if you take your own life are wrong. Let me explain to you what a pastor told me years ago. And this was a pastor who actually did the Lord's work and was very accepting of every community because it was very Jesus-like. Once forgiven, always forgiven. Doesn't matter the sin. So whether you look at that and say murder or stealing or taking your own life. Hopefully not. And we always want you here because you are enough. But never let religion be the deterrent. Because there are people who genuinely believe that your loved one will go to hell. And let me explain to you, that's not how that works. That's not how, and it's in the Bible. So if people are bitching about that, direct them there. Guys, this has been an incredible live. I appreciate all of you, but it is 2:00. Way longer than I meant to go. I apologize for the restriction. Thank you so much to all of my 40 subscribers. I will go back and make sure everybody is followed because that's what I do. When you are a subscriber, I do follow so that you can be notified because we are like-minded. These next 4 years are going to be trying. The next 47 days are going to be so fucking stressful. I had to deconstruct. I am so glad that you guys found me too. I appreciate you. I'm just a one-woman show. Look, it's not, oh, thank you, Baby Boom. I appreciate you. I just do this because I'm a natural born talker. I talked before I could walk, and I walked very early. I am only 4'11". For those of you who are unaware, I am extremely short. But I am loud as fuck because I used to say, well, he didn't make... Shiloh with the hanging lights. I appreciate you. God didn't make me 6 foot tall, but he gave me a voice. Like I said, I'm 4'11", but if you come at me squirrely, I'm going to come at you like I'm a 6'5" defensive end. That is what will happen. 4'11", ooh, ooh, 4'11", ooh, ooh. Oh, yeah, and don't worry. I can explain more on the one TikTok that you're seeing about Messy Talk today about the POV. We'll talk about that at a later time because that's a doozy. That's going to be a series because whoo, I appreciate you. I kick shins. Bitch, I kick nuts. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Hopefully I can come back tomorrow. I might not be able to, but I'm going to try, if nothing else, next Tuesday. So hang in there. If you have questions, let me know. Comment, like, share, follow, whatever you want to do. I will upload this to YouTube later on, so both of them will be at my YouTube. And thank you, Angela, I appreciate you. I'm just going to keep it up for next time because I hate changing goals because it's dumb. But I appreciate you guys. I love you. Have a great day. You're worth all of it. We'll get through this. It's going to be trying, but find your people. Stay with your people. And if you can't find me here, guys, if for some reason ever TikTok went away after the whole shebang, thank you, The Rain for the Roses. I appreciate you. I'll be over on YouTube. I'm still over on Twitter. I'm over on Instagram. I'm never on Facebook because that's just family shit. So I love you. I hope you guys have a great day. Be good to each other and tell people to kick fucking rocks.